Today, I invite you to a very special journey as we visit 3 cemeteries that reflect the culture, history, and ways we honor our loved ones in 2 different parts of the world. I have visited the cemeteries of Orem and Pleasant Grove in Utah, United States, and also the General Cemetery of Chillán in Chile. Through this video, I want to share how each place has its own symbolism, but always with the same purpose: to remember and pay tribute to those who are no longer with us. Everything you will see is made with the most respect for the traditions and families resting in these sites. Starting with the Orem Cemetery, this place reflects the development and identity of the city. Located in the heart of Utah, the Orem Cemetery was established in the early 20th century when the city was experiencing significant growth. What is interesting is how it has evolved alongside the community. Initially, the cemetery covered only a few acres, but as the city grew, so did the place. Today, it is a spacious and serene site with large trees providing shade and tranquility to visitors. In the Orem Cemetery, there is a special section dedicated to war veterans, honoring approximately 650 veterans who served in the United States Armed Forces. This area is not only a visible reminder to the sacrifice made by those who fought for their country, but also a site for reflection and respect for the community. The tribute to veterans in Orem includes a central monument that highlights the importance of military sacrifice. This monument represents combat scenes and the military history of the United States, providing a visual context for the sacrifices made by these men and women. The gravestones are neatly arranged, each accompanied by a plaque that includes the veteran's name, rank, and, in many cases, the conflict in which they participated, such as World War II, the Korean War, Vietnam, and other recent conflicts. Another interesting aspect of this cemetery is how nature plays a central role. The large, well-maintained trees not only provide a calm environment, but also invite reflection. It is a place where many people come not only to visit their loved ones, but also to enjoy a moment of peace and silence surrounded by the beauty of the landscapes. One of the most notable features of the Orem Cemetery is its organization. Here, most graves are arranged in an orderly and uniform manner, with low, minimalist headstones that blends with the green landscape. Compared to other cemeteries in the country, discretion is a key characteristic. The gravestones often have simple details such as names, dates, and in some cases, small inscriptions or symbols reflecting the life or beliefs of the deceased. Continuing to the Pleasant Grove Cemetery, this place has an even deeper history. Founded in the late 19th century, the cemetery has witnessed generations of residents who contribute to the development of the city. Unlike the Orem Cemetery, there is a strong sense of tradition here. Many of the graves belong to the pioneer families whose descendants still live in the city, giving this cemetery an atmosphere of legacy and continuity. One of the most interesting areas of this cemetery is the historical section, where the graves of the first families to arrive in Pleasant Grove can be found. These graves not only testify the local history, but also tell personal stories. Many of them have unique details reflecting the lives and beliefs of those resting there. From religious inscriptions to symbols representing the occupations of the deceased, such as farming tools or handmade wooden crosses, these old graves are often meticulously maintained, demonstrating the ongoing respect that families feel for their ancestors. Another unique aspect of the Pleasant Grove Cemetery is how it is harmoniously arranged with the natural environment. The location near the mountains offers spectacular views, adding a sense of serenity and permanence to the place. The gravestone here, although modest, are perfectly aligned, and many families continue to care for these graves, leaving fresh flowers and, in some cases, small personal items as reminders of the life of the deceased. This intimate connection between nature and the graves makes the cemetery an ideal place for contemplation and remembrance. Like in Orem, the Pleasant Grove Cemetery has an area dedicated to war veterans, honoring the memory of approximately 350 veterans who served in the United States Armed Forces. This place is characterized by special serenity, surrounded by trees and nature, providing an atmosphere of peace and reflection. The tribute to veterans also features a memorial garden that offers additional space for reflection and remembrance. This garden is designed with quiet paths and benches, allowing visitors to pause and meditate on the lives and sacrifices of the veterans. The gravestones of veterans are neatly arranged, each bearing a plaque with the details of the deceased's military service, highlighting the rank and the conflicts in which they participated. Small American flags wave alongside these graves, serving as a constant symbol of the respect and gratitude that the community has for those who gave their lives for their country. Finally, we arrived at the Chillán Cemetery in Chile, which contrasts significantly with the cemeteries in Orem and Pleasant Grove. Also founded in the 19th century, the Chillán Cemetery is a vibrant reflection of Chilean culture and its strong connection to the Catholic religion. The first impression upon entering this cemetery is the abundance of crosses, images of saints, and elaborated mausoleums. Unlike American cemeteries, it is common here to see graves decorated with highly detailed religious elements, from angels to sculptures of the Virgin Mary. Regarding the architecture of the graves, the Chillán Cemetery offers great diversity. Among the most common are earth-dug graves, niches, and mausoleums, each with its own meaning and function with the local funeral traditions. Niches are a widely used option in the Chillán Cemetery. They are primarily found in large walls or vertical structures and provide an efficient space solution, especially in urban areas where land is limited. Niches are often stacked one above the other, and each is a small compartment that contains the coffin or the urn of the deceased. Unlike earth-dug graves, niches allow for a more modest and compact space for each individual, but that does not mean they lack personalization. Families often decorate the niches with small plaques, inscriptions, artificial or fresh flowers, and even photograph of the deceased loved one. Earth-dug graves are one of the most traditional types of burial in the Chillán Cemetery. These burials allow multiple family members to be buried in a single space, typically accommodating between 4 to 6 people. Family graves offer a joint resting place, reflecting the strong sense of unity and family legacy that characterize many Chilean families. In these graves, it is common to see taller, more decorated headstones. On the other hand, mausoleums are much more elaborated structures and are often reserved for families wishing to honor their loved ones in a more lasting and visible way. In the Chillán Cemetery, mausoleums can be true works of art, some of which have been passed down through generations. These constructions are usually made of marble or stone and often have several levels, allowing multiple generations of family to be buried together within the same structure. Mausoleums are typically decorated with stained glass, religious statues, and detailed architectural elements. They often have small chapels or interior spaces where families can pray or privately remember their loved ones. These structures reflect a sense of legacy and permanence, showing some families' desire to leave a lasting monument for future generations. In terms of decorations, while fresh flowers are the main decorative element in the US, in Chile, it is common to see more personalized offerings, such as photographs, candles, and other items that the deceased cherished in life, or simply seasonal decorations, such as patriotic decorations in September or Christmas decorations in December. This custom has its own roots in the belief that by remembering the deceased with these objects, they somehow remain present in the lives of their loved ones. Funerary ceremonies also vary between the two places. In the United States, ceremonies are usually shorter and more discreet, focusing on emotional speeches and the presence of close family members. For veterans, there is often an honor guard present to pay tribute to those who have fallen in battle. On the other hand, in Chillán, ceremonies can be more elaborated, with religious processions accompanying the body to its final resting place. Funerals with long lines of cars and people walking behind the hearses, and in some cases music that reflects local culture. In both cases, what matters most is the respect and love with which the deceased are bid farewell. Among the cemeteries of Orem, Pleasant Grove, and Chillán, the cultural and aesthetic differences are evident. While simplicity and nature dominate the gravestones and decorations in American cemeteries, in Chillán there is the greatest emphasis on religious symbols, especially crosses and images of saints. The Catholic influence is deep, and this is reflected in the architecture of the mausoleums and in the devotion with which the graves are maintained. This cemetery has clearly defined areas, and one of the most prominent is the section dedicated to fallen police officers and firefighters. In this video, we could only visit the graves of the firefighters, which are particularly significant. The graves of the firefighters in Chillán are marked with plaques that usually includes their first and last names, and occasionally their rank within the fire department. Many of these graves are decorated with emblems from the respective companies, as well as fresh flowers and offerings that reflect the community's respect for them, as they are considered local heroes in Chile for their voluntary services and selfless sacrifice. A significant cultural difference between cemeteries in the United States and Chile is the treatment of names on headstones. In the United States, it is common for the last name to stand out over the first name, reflecting a cultural tradition where family lineage holds great importance. In contrast, in Chile, it is common to inscribe the deceased's full name without giving greater prominence to the last name, reflecting a more balanced view of personal and family identity. This contrast in funerary plaques is a small but revealing detail of the cultural differences between the two countries. Despite the differences we can observe in decoration, type of graves, and ceremonies, there is something that deeply connects the cemetery of Orem, Pleasant Grove, and Chillán: the desire to remember and honor those who have passed away. In each place, families find their way to keep the memory of their loved ones alive, whether with flowers, monuments, or special commemorations. But most important, no matter where we are in the world, the act of remembering and honoring those who are no longer with us remains a common bond among all of us. This journey through these three cemeteries reminds us that despite cultural and aesthetic differences, love and respect for the departed loved ones are universal. I hope this video has allowed you to see the similarities that connect us as human beings, beyond borders and traditions. I will leave you with one of the most emotional similarities between the cemeteries of both countries: the silence adorned with the song of birds, providing the necessary peace for a place like this.